I'm here because I've spent a lifetime watching elections be decided in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and I've watched the West have the raw end of our structure in our Constitution. And I think that what we're really looking at here in Alberta right now is a discussion between what Canada we want to have. If it's the one that has had the West paying for the pandering to Ontario and Quebec, or whether it's one that wants to see an Alberta strong, free, and independent that can actually stand up and make a difference in this world and actually redefine Canada. And so my discussion tonight, my platform is about a strong and sovereign Alberta and its independence. And I think there's a lot of things in Canada that we're not talking about in relation to the public forum. And I believe that farmers are producers and not polluters. I believe that oil and LNG are a requirement for human prosperity. I believe that reverse racism is racism. I believe the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to humanity. I believe that compelled speech is not a Canadian value. I believe that multiculturalism has failed, and I believe that there are only two sexes. One of the challenges that we have here tonight is that there's a lot of trust, and I had my trust in the Conservative Party of Canada as well. But we are facing a threat in this nation of post-nationalism. And in this last 10 years, we've had Justin Trudeau commit to Canada being the first post-nation state. We've had a severe undermining foreign interference, and Justin Trudeau has told us that COVID would provide an opportunity for a reset. There has not been one challenge to the...
Okay, rate that out of 10.
Oh, it's Catherine.
Thank you so much to the Chamber for setting all of this up, and thank you so much to all of my fellow candidates for coming out here and for standing up for you. I know that Damien is in the crowd. I'll have you know I took down 4 of your signs that were still up. You're very welcome. I will not be reporting them as still up. If any of you see any of my signs out there, because there's so many, please take them down after everything's done. Let me know, I'll go get them.
What a waste of time.
As we all know, we're basically sacrificial lambs when we come out here. It's almost a guaranteed loss. So why are we running? We're running as advocates. We want to be a voice. We want to bring issues that are otherwise ignored by the government. Issues like affordability, budget deficit, economy and jobs, the environment, our healthcare, our housing, Indigenous relations, our management, or I should say proper management of natural resources, our mental health and addictions, our public safety and crime, taxation, dare I say, Trump, small businesses, and seniors. And I'd also like to bring it to some of my fellow candidates' attention that we are all treaty people. So that separation you're thinking about has a few more people that you need to kind of talk to before that can even become a conversation. So
you get a vote like we do.
Yeah.
You get a vote.
Thank you all so much.
You get a vote like we do.
I'm also going to be here to listen to your concerns. What do you want advocated? Because we all know this run really isn't for a new candidate.
Yeah, no kidding.
What can we add to my million-mile-long list?
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
He's just Mr.
The cause
Slip
of
Up.
inflation is government. Cost, yes, it's very simple. Supply and demand. The government is boosting demand and limiting supply. They're boosting demand through out-of-control immigration and money printing that adds more money and people than new products for them to buy. And they are restricting the supply of things by blocking everything from home building to natural resource development. So what's the solution? We need to cut back on immigration. In fact, we need to have negative population growth for the next several years as more people leave than come. We need to slash bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, corporate welfare, and handouts to fraudulent refugees. And we need to unlock our resources to produce cheap energy and affordable homes. So let's produce more stuff rather than adding more people and more money.
Great answer. It's simple.
Thank you, Pierre. Darcy.
I agree, and we did it right for 150 plus years, whether it was the frontier pioneers who came and settled the prairies, or the great Italians and Portuguese who came and built roads and founded families across Canada, or my wife who came as a refugee. Her dad picked fruit in a farm field so that he could pay the rent, and now they're a successful story. But over the last 10 years, the Liberals have adopted a post-nationalist ideology. They call it the Century Initiative, to triple our population, to favor globalist interests and multinational corporations at our expense. They've driven down wages with excess temporary foreign workers, with abusing the international student program and allowing fraudulent and often criminal arrivals to come in and abuse our system. That abuse must stop. We must have more people leaving than coming over the next several years as we bring down our population and allow our health care, our housing, our job market.
Thank you, Pierre.
I think a handful of my colleagues up here need to check their privilege. Immigration is vitally important to our country. And when you look on a global scale, there's a war happening in Gaza, in Ukraine, and significant unrest in the United States. Where will these people be able to go? We should be
We're not taking
welcoming
refugees from the
people
United
here
States,
in Canada.
sister.
We should allow them to come here. And that doesn't
The
mean
Rainbow Railroad,
that there
Sheila.
won't be programs or services for everyone else. It's not pie. It doesn't mean that it's cut and they get everything
It
and
is
you get
pie.
nothing. That's not
It
the
is-
way
it
it
is a
works.
pie.
I bought the
Canada
pie.
is vast. There's more than enough area. This riding is vast. It
pie.
takes me 8 hours just to get across it.
Just
There's
magic.
more than enough space.
Just magic money.
And if anything, the farmers need hands. Every farmer I
No, we
spoke to
don't.
needs help.
Do we need
Thank you,
slaves
Catherine.
from
Jeff.
the third world?
Thank you,
Catherine.
Shauna.
Also, First Lady to call you a settler
The
to your
Liberals have
face.
done everything.
Look, I'll be honest, having a leader of a political party as your local member of parliament is a trade-off. On the one hand, the leader, in truth, lives in hotel rooms, in low-budget hotel rooms across the country. I can assure you, they live in St. John's, Newfoundland one night, and in Sault Ste. Marie the next, and maybe Port Alberni after that. At the other side, though, is that leader can bring a very powerful megaphone to the local issues of the community. For example, getting a pipeline built from Hardisty over to Prince Rupert or to Kitimat, that is a local issue that requires national leadership. Protecting your right to own a hunting rifle, that is a local issue that requires national leadership. Fixing the prison in Drumheller is a local issue that needs national leadership. I will provide that strong. Quite frankly, it's the Liberal government in Ottawa that has denigrated our healthcare system. To start with, the out-of-control population growth of particularly the last 5 years, our ratio of patient to doctor is now worse than it's ever been. We need to cap immigration to ensure that we can add doctors and nurses faster than we add people. Second, we need to grow our economy faster because our federal healthcare transfer grows at the same rate as our economy. And that means unleashing our resources, and lowering taxes, and making our economy stronger. And third, we have 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses who cannot work because they can't get a license. We have a red seal that's already in place for the trades, a national license for the licensed trades. We should do the same thing with a blue seal based on a high standard that immigrant doctors can take a test, prove they're qualified, and get to work in our hospital.
That we're not doing that now is an outrage.
Thank you, Pierre.
So how will you support farmers and rural communities in adapting to the growing impacts of climate change, such as droughts, wildfires, and extreme weather,
No.
while also promoting sustainable agricultural practices, rural infrastructure, and
asked
rural
this
economic
question?
development.
This is not a farmer
Well,
question.
there's a
We
lot
don't
in
talk
that
like
question. Let's start with infrastructure. And I was very pleased to
some
meet with the
wokesters.
special areas,
developing the
oil and
questions.
special areas
Bunch of
representatives
down
who
at
are
the
working on
community
getting a
garden.
direct
Yeah,
train
they're
route
Birkenstocks
that
who
would
think they're
allow
farmers ask
produce
that
to go through Camrose straight to the west coast rather than having to go all the way east to Saskatoon. Right now, farmers from the area have to add 600 kilometers of extra transit in the wrong direction in order to get to the west coast and ship to world markets. And I will hope to work with the region to try and get that short line track completed. I know that Damien has done great work on it. But we also need to do other things. We need to get rid of the liberal regulations that are cracking down on our farmers, get rid of the industrial carbon tax that's driving up the cost of fertilizer in this country. We need to respect the firearms rights of our farmers and allow them to use.
Okay, we heard a little bit about firearms there, so.
Thank you, Pierre.
Darcy. A word.
We need to look at farmers in China and the tariffs that we're paying for canola and get those stripped down. We have a leader of a political party here to my left who will not attain his clearance, security clearance. Hey, that's the truth. He won't attain his security clearance to actually tell you who the 11 MPs were that you were put in front of to vote.
You're going to get crucified there, buddy.
So
You
would
just
I get
lost
some
all
more time for
credibility.
that, or is?
Yeah, so I'm going to say that you could have 15 more seconds.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I
Why?
appreciate that because we had 11 MPs in this federal election that were the direct agents of or under the influence of foreign interference, and you weren't told. And why can't we actually deal with foreign governments that are influencing us? Because our loyal opposition won't tell us. Thank you very much, Mr. Poilievre.
Wow.
Bluntly speaking, this generation of youth has been totally screwed like never before.
buddy.
Generation screwed.
Start with their wages. The government's bringing in unprecedented numbers of low-wage temporary foreign workers, taking away the retail, accommodation, and restaurant jobs that normally paid the tuition of our youth. That has to stop. We have to cut back on that. Secondly, our universities are not equipping people with the right skills. I got a university education, U of C, it was great. But I'll tell you what we need is more emphasis on the trades. We need more of the people who can make stuff, move stuff, fix stuff, and move stuff. And we need to shift more of our resources to making it possible for our young people to sign on to the trades. And finally, we need to remove the red tape and the taxes to build homes that our young people can actually afford so that when they graduate with student debt, they can still afford to buy a home and start a family and build a Canadian.
Thank you, Pierre.